Okay, we're at the end of the ENAR in Brussels, and we have here an expert on Roma affairs in Europe. And also behind the camera we have Sandra, who is recording this. So, could you tell us who you are and what is your relationship with the Roma?
My name is Isabela Mihalache. I'm Roma myself. I come from Romania, but I've started working with ENAR since February on a portfolio that is quite broad, that deals with anti-racism in general, but more specifically on Islamophobia, on anti-Gypsyism, on anti-Semitism, and of course on intersectionality, as all my colleagues here. But before I joined ENAR, I have 15 years of experience at the international level on Roma affairs, both with international organizations but also with non-governmental organizations.
So, on researching Roma affairs and so forth, what got you so excited about researching? I mean, of course you're interested in Roma reality in Europe. How did you take that extra step to find out, the whole bigger picture?
Well, it's interesting because as a Roma, you're always interested to know who you are, where you come from, what's the whole story. With Roma, why do you have to feel weird when you walk out in the street and you see people looking at you differently, treating you differently? Also, when I was 14, in Romania at the time, there were a number of pogroms against Roma, which means we were under attack, so we had to flee our place and hide in someone else's place for fear that we would not be physically attacked. Okay, so because of all this, you want to understand all of this hate is coming from. And by luck, if you want, I was able to start working since I was at university on Roma issues. And then I chose to join the Open Society Foundation and actually trying to do something to improve the situation of Roma internationally, because it's really part of who I am, to try and make this world a better place. And if I cannot do it also for my own community, then what else can I do? You see, so it was really a compelling feeling that made me choose this path in my work.
I mean, a lot of people know who the Roma are. How many? What, about 10 million in Europe?
Well, they say that there are about 10 to 12 million Roma in Europe.
Yeah. Could you sort of fill us in on the situation a little bit? Generally, the context. What is the situation in Roma in Europe these days? Continental Europe, maybe Finland.
Yeah. I wish I could give you good news and say that the situation of Roma is overall good, but unfortunately I cannot tell you that, because across Europe, in every single member state of the European Union, the situation of Roma is challenging for themselves, because there's always the issue of violence, whether it's state violence from state actors or non-state actors, like attacks from far-right groups, or if it's institutional racism, of how Roma are being treated in, let's say, access to services from healthcare institutions, but also when it comes to education, discrimination in employment. We also see a lot of hate speech from politicians in many of our countries. So the situation is really extreme in some of the countries, and sometimes it's tolerable in some of the countries. So overall, I can say that Roma are uniquely one of the minority in Europe that are faced with discrimination and racism in most of the walks of life.
When you mention those countries, which countries are you talking about?
Yes, I'm usually asked which is the good country or which are the worst country. But there's most of them. There are countries where there is a number of serious situations like segregation in education or in hospitals, and this you will find, for instance, in countries such as the Czech Republic. You can also find it in countries such as Bulgaria. You can find it also in countries such as Romania, my own country. Yeah. So, but you can also find violence from state and non-state actors in all of the countries. But then some more egregious attacks, for instance, you can see in Italy sometimes. You can also find in Czech Republic, in Slovakia. Also, if you go a bit outside of the EU, in Ukraine, we have recent attacks against Roma. But in Bulgaria, it may happen, in Romania. So it doesn't happen in all the countries at once, but each of our countries at some point is subject, if you want, to violence against the Roma population.
A couple more questions. The Nordic region are countries with high standards of living. They are Nordic welfare states. They prize highly social equality and so forth. Is the situation in Roma, let's say, in a country like Finland, is it also much better than in those countries that you mentioned?
Thank you for the question. For many years, we thought that actually Western countries were doing better, also because they are known as more solid democracies with better legislation on anti-discrimination, with better social inclusion policies, as you have mentioned. Unfortunately, what we see is that the situation in Western Europe is not necessarily better for the Roma. Look at the UK. Look sometimes at Denmark, which also deports Roma. Also look at Norway, a very rich country that also has issues with Roma integration. Finland as well, or even Sweden, a country where everybody feels so included, but when it comes to Roma, they still find it hard to be socially included. So we do have issues which may be different in each of the Western countries with Roma. So I would say the situation may apparently look better, but when we really look at the realities, we may see that challenges are still there.
As the last question, you've had a special relationship with Finland, right? You traveled there, you advised the government. Many of the Roma people that I know.
Yes.
Like Enrique Tessieri, tell me about the Finnish situation.
Yes. Well, first of all, yes, in fact, I was a privileged one to benefit from the financial support of the Finnish government throughout the years. But then the situation of Roma in Finland, when you talk to the Roma in Finland, they will tell you that there are a lot of issues around discrimination in general. First of all, it's because of their looks. Because although they are white skin, you will see that they are darker hair and sometimes darker skin as well. But even the ones that have a white skin and dark hair, they're still seen or recognized as Roma. And sometimes their name, it's an identified Roma name, and therefore they face a lot of discrimination when it comes to accessing employment. But they also face discrimination when they access public spaces or shops. And there's a lot of complaints and cases of Roma women in Finland in regard with access to public places, but also when it comes to, there are a lot of cases of discrimination or alleged cases of discrimination accessing housing because again of the fact that they are visibly Roma or identifiably easily Roma by their name.
Wow, that's interesting. As a final thing, what do you think, what would you recommend? Let's say like in a country like Finland, because, I'm in Finland, so that's why I'm in Finland. What would you recommend that should be done to improve the situation of Roma, their inclusion, employment, being part of society, being an equal member of society?
Yes, well, you see, at the face of it, Finland seems to want to do more. But then what we can see is that Finland is doing much more for outside of its own boundaries. Within Finland, we still see that although the legislation is there for non-discrimination, and apparently the political will is there, the action is missing. So I think that it's really trying to look at what concretely can be done, but at the same time, I see that there is still a low level of Roma representation in public institutions around Finland. So if the Finnish government or public institutions do not have the particular expertise to exactly know how to address challenges of Roma, what is needed is to really empower more the civil society, Roma in Finland, to take political positions in public institutions to be able to define together with public authorities what is needed to be done. And also to be able to learn from the experiences of other countries, and why not, to export the good practices they actually implement outside of Finland, in Finland itself.
Okay, that sounds really good. Is there anything else you'd like to say that I didn't ask you that you expected that I would ask you?
Well, I would just hope that this whole process that we have started at European level in addressing Roma issues from a different angle, which is not that one of social inclusion, but the anti-Gypsyism is going to continue. Because with the evaluation of the national strategies for Roma now, we see that the Commission is very much willing to recognize that the root cause of the situation of Roma is not just social inclusion by itself, but it's because of anti-Gypsyism. And we want to see that put in operations, in practice, at national level, but also by the EU institutions. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.